Welcome to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast, where we learn about some success stories and some not so successful stories. But either way, we learn. Each episode, we talk with successful real estate agents and vendors about things they have done to make them successful and some things they did that you might want to avoid. Join us for each episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin.
Is your son playing for Ole Miss? Is that what I saw?
Neither of my boys wanted to play at the next level. And so he's at Ole Miss, not playing, my soon-to-be sophomore, and my freshman's going to Auburn.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So he'll be at Auburn next year.
My daughter visited Auburn. She loved it.
Great place.
Yeah. She wound up at Clemson, which is closer for us. Still,
right. She stayed a Tiger.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of Tigers in the SEC.
Yes, there are.
LSU. All right, so let me put this on here. Interview with, should I say, Maps Bold Coach?
There you go.
Interview. So tell me so one's a freshman. Tell me the ages.
Freshman, sophomore, and senior. Lauren will be a senior next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She's graduating and then going on to get her master's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Pretty crazy times.
I know. It's cool, but you're like, how long is she going to be on the payroll?
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. Old coach. How's Marcy doing?
She's doing well. All my stuff behind the scenes gets done by her, so I can do this kind of stuff and look great.
Same here. Meg makes sure that all the...
In fact, I probably should change that since you brought it up, because this shows as Marcy.
What's that now?
My screen shows as Marcy.
Oh, does it? That's all right.
I'm on her machine. Oh, come on. Oh, you know what happens if you use the wrong keyboard? It doesn't work.
Huh.
I got multiple computers, multiple keyboards in front of me.
Yeah. Oh, I got double screens. It looks like the Starship Enterprise. Because as soon as this thing hit, I knew. I was like, man, this is going to be a virtual world now, and whoever's good at virtual has the advantage.
Do you have your screen with my image directly behind your camera?
Do I have – say that one more time now.
So I have a vertical monitor directly behind my webcam.
Okay.
And that is where your face is right above that camera.
Oh, wow. I have double screens, and I think I could move, I can move you over there, I think.
Yeah, I'll show you from my view.
I think we're live now.
That's okay. We can be a little live, have some fun.
Yeah. While you're doing that, I'm going to introduce you.
You got it.
Everybody out there, Facebook family and podcast family, when you listen to this, I've got a special treat for you today. This is an old friend of mine, and he is like uniquely qualified. Not only does he, successful real estate agent, Maps Bold Coach. This guy used to run a multi-inspector home inspection firm, so he's seen it from all sides. And more than that, he started a thing for home inspectors that helped them ISS, right? I remember it. It was a scheduling / CRM. It was a great, and it's basically, before that, home inspectors just wrote stuff on the back of a napkin, scheduling or used Microsoft Outlook. It was terrible. It was awesome. And there's different incarnations of that today, but I give you credit for that because to me, that was your brainchild. And, all home inspectors, whether they know it or not, should thank you for that. But awesome. Russ Colliau, how you doing today?
I am doing well. Thank you for that great introduction, Preston. And it's always fun to just be chatting with my buddy. So looking forward today and spending some time with you.
Awesome. So fill in a couple of holes there. so, the audience for this is primarily real estate agents.
Excellent.
And I can tell them that, obviously you had a multi-inspector firm in Sacramento, I think, right? In California.
Correct. Sacramento region. Yeah.
And you moved to Texas, Austin area, I think, Lake Travis or something.
I'm right here in Lake Travis. Absolutely.
There you go. And started real estate. And obviously you're pretty close to Keller Williams mothership there. So anyway, you fill in the holes there and the backstory and all that stuff.
Well, the Keller Williams mothership is what actually brought me here. Well, as you have done, while I was in Sacramento, I was involved in sponsoring and helping out a number of their training programs over the years, and absolutely fell in love with what their bold content did for my home inspection company.
Right.
Here I am taking a real estate class and leveraging that into my home inspection world. And during the implosion of 2008 through 2011, as you saw, my home inspection company grew year after year after year substantially from what I implemented from that content. And I really had a passion for teaching that. I got to teach in the home inspection space with you and others, and that content was so great. I moved to Austin, relocated my family, bought a house sight unseen, all before even auditioning for the opportunity to be one of their bold coaches. And soon discovered that real estate production was a requirement. So got my license in Texas, jumped in, and just followed the models and systems and cranked up a very successful real estate operation here in Austin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us, so you're doing MAPS bold coaching now. I think you were, I'm in Charlotte. I think you were in Raleigh, if I'm not mistaken. Where and all have you taught it, and how's that experience been?
Well, where all have I been? So I was in Raleigh, Durham during October through December launch. And you said I'm teaching bold now. Well, that's somewhat incorrect because the Corona situation grounded all the bold coaches. We're not traveling out. We're not out there in the rooms teaching. We did create together what's called Bold Pivot, and did an online version to 41,000 real estate agents during May. The largest real estate training ever. We were 4 days a week, 4 weeks in May, and it was a blast. Now, that being said, where have I been other than in the social media domain? I have been Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, Utah, Texas, obviously North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and I know I'm missing Iowa. I got to spend some time in Iowa this year.
Awesome.
All over the country traveling on behalf of Keller Williams.
Awesome. I do have a question about that. I always wondered about that. So, like, I've taken bold, and I've had my people take bold. Typically, it's 1 day a week, usually that same day. So, do they fly you guys in, and then are you teaching multiple bold classes at the same time? Like, are you in Raleigh and then you fly into Iowa, or how does that? I always wondered, how does that work?
The bold coach life, and I'll give you the most extreme example. What I've lived doing 4 bolds in a row. So Sunday afternoon, you wave goodbye to your family, you fly into a city. Mm-hmm. You settle into your hotel, you study your material, you get up in the morning early, do your morning ritual, roll into the bold room at 7 a.m., and be in that room coaching and training and lifting people up until 3:30 in the afternoon. You then rush to the airport, jump on another plane, fly to the next city, land whenever you land, get in the hotel whenever you get in the hotel, and run that same thing again, jump in another plane the next afternoon. And it's 4 days in a row of just bouncing from city to city. The behind-the-scenes coordination that occurs to make it to where we're always in the city. We never miss a day. There is always a bold coach where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be, is pretty amazing. I mean, with weather and flight delays, it's an incredible team that I get to be a part of.
That's wild. I'll tell you this. I had a little taste of that. I went with one of our mutual friends, Mr. Thornberry. He did a tour, and we did and he took several home inspectors, and I was one of them, and we each spoke. And it was that same schedule. And we're only, teaching for an hour. My little part was only an hour. I was talking about pre-inspections in that program that we do. But anyway, my point of all this is I always thought that seemed so glamorous, going to a hotel, getting on a plane, going to another city. It's a lot of work. And it's really, because I told my wife, I was like, I don't think rock star life is all that great, really. Like I always thought, rock stars, oh, how great it would be to go from town to town to town. I'm like, I bet that is not as glamorous as most people think it is.
Yeah. Well, people get to see us in that bold room as bold coaches doing what we're passionate about. And every one of the coaches is on fire from 8:30 in the morning to 3:30 straight through. And then the behind the scenes can be tough because you'll find out when you come out of the room that your flight's been delayed or maybe canceled. So you're getting a hold of your assistant, getting flights rescheduled. Many coaches have either flown a red eye to get into a city and just got to their hotel, showered, and rolled right into the ballroom. Some have even gotten rental cars and limos to be able to make the drive to get there.
Wow.
The fun part about it as a coach is that we are living what we teach, that the excuses go out the window.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things that everybody, whether it's in real estate or home inspection or anything, the more you don't allow your excuses to rule your world, the more success.
I lost you there for a second. You still there?
I'm still here. Are you still here?
Yeah, it froze for just a second.
Well, you're telling me that in the virtual world we're having technical issues.
Well, I think the amount of people using the internet has jacked up. Well, that's a good transition. What is your best bold law? I mean, what's your favorite or favorite bold law and why?
So there's 34 of them, and my favorite happens to be one of the more obscure for most people, and it is that yourselves eavesdrop on your thoughts. Every cell in your body is paying attention to what's going on in your mind, and well, here's why. That thing on top of your neck right there is an electrical operating, chemical generating machine, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, something scares you and you have that release of adrenaline and the body reacts.
Endorphins, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Preston, if you were in quarantine and drinking every day, would that
Who you been talking to?
I know. Would that alcohol wind up being in every cell in your body?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And would you be addicted to it?
You could, absolutely.
And when you went to change away and stop taking that chemical into your body, would it be difficult, painful?
Yeah.
A struggle. Well, it's the same thing with the thoughts you're having and I'm having. We have a pattern, and deviating from that pattern feels awkward and difficult. And I just always love asking people, is that pattern serving you?
Yeah.
And if not, man, those cells are eavesdropping, and you get to change the chemicals that are being released by diligently working on changing your habits.
Absolutely. That's why we're no longer allowed to have cookie dough in our house, because I say, I'm just going to have one little bite.
I'm shocked, Preston, knowing you don't have all the components. And just when everybody's going to bed, you're not making your own.
Yeah, no, not at all. Well, let me ask you this, Russ. I think Gary Keller said, and I've heard this a couple of times, they was asked, what if you were starting real estate or struggling in real estate, what would the first piece of advice you would give somebody? And it would be take bold. What would the second piece of advice you give somebody? Take bold.
Yeah, well, in all honesty, even before getting licensed, start getting educated on what it takes to be successful. And always on my desk, the answers, I have to get it close to me because of the virtual background, are in the Millionaire Real Estate Agents, are in Shift, and are in the One Thing. And it amazes me how many agents have these on their shelves yet have never read them cover to cover and don't read them every single year. There's not a single answer that you're looking for that if you weren't following these 3 tomes, the answer would be right at your fingertips.
Yeah, no.
And so, especially right now with Shift, man, my buddy James Shaw has been doing a Shift Facebook page. It's out there. If you look for Shift Pivot, you'll find James's Facebook page. Every morning he's on there live teaching directly out of that Shift book. Over 75,000 people on that page now.
Wow. And they're all on Audible too, by the way. I listen to books. I think every one of them are on Audible. So I've listened to them. Well,
and aren't they? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, aren't they actually applicable to your business as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
They're not real estate books. They're business and life success books. And it's why everybody, I have these sitting on my desk right now because I'm taking them out to a meeting next week to give them away to another business owner that's not in real estate that I know it'll help them.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you this. Knowing that our audience is primarily real estate agents, and, we're in the middle of this crazy pandemic. I'm hoping we're on the back end of it, but, honestly, I think it's going to be crazy between now and the election. Pretty much. They're going to keep the craziness turned up.
Other forces at work in that political
I'm not getting political or anything, but that's my prediction. Now, obviously, where I'm going with this is, what advice would you give real estate agents? But let me preface it by saying, when this first happened, it was like real bad at first. And I was on a meeting where they showed like showings nationwide, like where they went down till about April 12th, 13th. And that's where it hit the bottom. And then it started going back up. And, our business is crazy good. And I think it is in a lot of places. But there are a lot of areas that still have lockdown or more. I mean, we've still got stuff here. I mean, everybody does, and people are still. I always say everybody's on a scale. Some people think we're all going to die, and some people think the thing's a hoax. And everybody falls somewhere on that, and you got to respect where they are, regardless if you're somewhere else. But for the average real estate agent, what can they be doing now to market their business, their database? What advice? Because I'm sure you've gotten this question quite a bit.
Absolutely, and let's stop paying attention to everything we have no control over.
Right.
Because all that other stuff going on is superfluous junk. And Preston, if every real estate agent's business in your area was struggling, well, gosh darn it, you'd be struggling too, because the transactions wouldn't be happening. And yet you're seeing, because you built partnerships with people that are great producers, that no matter what the market, they're doing the right things. And here's the key. They're doing the fundamentals, and they're focused on the fundamentals, and they do them well. And I don't care what industry, what business, what sport, the successful people focus on the fundamentals. And, as we teach in Bold, and again, it's right out of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Shift, there's only 5 job descriptions in the order of importance of a successful real estate agent. Lead generate, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and practice and role play the conversations that you're going to be having.
Awesome.
So lead generate.
Absolutely.
Period.
Do you believe, and I know the answer to this before I ask, but scripts, are you a big believer in scripts?
Well, here's the fun part with it. If I ask a room, how many of you use scripts, maybe half the hands go up. Every single human being uses scripts.
Yeah.
Yours just may not be serving you. You've been learning scripts and dialogues and conversations your entire life. If you had stopped at first grade, how effective a communicator would you be today?
Not too good.
So all you're doing is learning other ways to communicate, more effective ways. And it's not read a script verbatim and sound like somebody else. No. Yeah. It's take that, practice, learn it, internalize it, make it your own. So in the moment you're having that conversation, the right words come out. Awesome. And that's why that practice and role play piece is there at number 5. So you can just internalize and get better, and ultimately you have fun with it. That's the best part.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot, Russ. We've totally gone off script to the audience out there. I actually had questions, but I've known Russ. Oh gosh, we've probably known each other 12 years or something.
More than that. More than that.
Time.
Yeah, it's probably closer to 15 now, my friend.
The older I get, a year seems like a week ago. But anyway, give me your scripts. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Pretend like I am an expired listing. And you're calling me.
Okay.
You see, I guess I've been with somebody else for 3 months, maybe not priced quite right or something, and I'm just about fed up. All right, I'm expired list.
Isn't every single expired fed up? Because they had a dream, they had a plan, they had a vision of what was going to happen in their world, and whoever their real estate representative was let them down.
Yeah.
So they're already going to be irritated. Now, before we make that call, Preston, let's have another conversation.
All right.
You're going to verify that the people aren't on the do not call list.
Okay.
That's one of the things that's been getting us in trouble in the industry, not in Keller Williams, in the industry, though, of just calling folks that are on that do not call list. You've got to make sure that your state, your local, your federal law is being complied with before you make that call.
Okay.
And the conversation again comes from the heart. For me, ring, ring.
Hello.
Yeah. Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. This is Russ Colliau with Keller Williams. I'm looking for Preston Sandlin.
This is me.
Hey, good morning, Preston. I just noticed today your house has shown up as an off-market listing online, a house that's no longer for sale. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, you're the fifth guy who's called me today.
Excellent. Fifth. How many from Keller Williams?
One. I think one other one. They
okay. Usually it's like always Keller Williams because we're the ones actually, having the conversations, doing the work. And so fifth person this morning that's called you on that. I was curious, if you were to have sold, where were you moving to?
We were just downsizing, kids going to college, and we just don't need all this square footage anymore. So we were just downsizing.
I'm sitting here looking online. You've got 4,500 square feet.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot to clean.
Yeah.
And we don't want the kids to move back home after they get out of college either.
Amen. Have they come back home for COVID?
Yes. They're
yes.
The house seems awfully small. I'm hoping we can go back to school.
Amen. Well, mine have too, and I get that. That being said, you were talking about downsizing. You talked about the taking care of it, the maintenance. So is there anything else like taxes, insurance, costs that was also kind of bothering you right now as you have this big empty house?
Well, I think my accountant said that my wife and I, obviously if we go to a smaller house, we'll cash out, some equity, but I think we get a certain amount of an exemption or something. And we're getting older now. I forget exactly, but I think my accountant said we were good with that. We wouldn't have to pay taxes on that, but I'd have to talk to them. I don't know off the top of my head what that amount is right now.
Yeah. Verify with your accountant. That being said, I believe it's actually for a married couple, $500,000 that you can put away in equity. So you get a bonus check for $500,000, wouldn't you?
Well, not quite that much, but we're within that parameter.
Nice. So if we could make that happen and get you downsized, would you be open to having a conversation with me about what we do differently to get houses sold?
Yeah, I'm just kind of frustrated because the other agent that I was working with, made a bunch of promises, and here we are 3 months later, and
Yeah, what kind of things do they promise, Preston?
Well, just, like a certain dollar amount, and that, certain, and all this sort of stuff. And I don't know, it's kind of like we had a lot of people look at it at first, but then we didn't have anybody look at it. And, it's like I communicated with them a lot at first, but kind of towards the end, they wouldn't return my calls and stuff. It's not, they would, but not very timely, I guess.
That must have been tough.
Yeah, that's why I'm not renewing with them.
I get that. It sounds to me like you just had an average agent, didn't you?
They were nice, but at the end of the day, they I don't mean any harm to them, but they didn't get us what we needed and what they told us they would get us.
Yeah. They didn't get the job done. You know what the average agent does, Preston?
No.
They do what I call the 3 Ps of real estate. They put a sign in the yard. Did he do that?
Yes.
Put the house in the MLS.
I think so, yes.
And then prays that somebody else does his job and gets it sold for him.
Maybe
I actually do. I do the fourth and fifth P as well. The fourth P is I proactively prospect every single day, every morning from 8 to 12, looking for buyers for my sellers and sellers for my buyers. In fact, I asked you, where'd you move if you would sell, didn't I?
Yes.
Because you might be a fit for one of my sellers. In fact, I'm so committed to that, Preston. If you call me between 8 and 12 and I answer the phone, I want you to fire me because I'm not doing my job for you.
Wow.
Would you like that level of commitment from a real estate agent?
Yes.
So when could we meet? Would today at 3 or tomorrow at 5 be better?
Tomorrow at 5, probably better.
Oh, you're only going to get the appointment. That's it. No sell. Did we raise the pain a little bit by asking questions that got you thinking about that open house, that empty house, that maintenance, that cost?
Yes, you did.
And you led me to the pleasure of you can actually get some cash out. And I know you're like me, you're in that process of downsizing, thinking about it, aren't you?
I am, but I can't get my wife on board with it. She's like, what if the kids come home for Christmas? And I'm like, it's one day, honey. It's one day.
Marcy is totally on board. And actually, the house I'm sitting in right now, we're in contract. We're on the way to downsize. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I just like, it's a lot of house to, and I got one kid in college and one will be there in two years. I'm like, do we really need it? No. Anyway.
You got to get that other one off to college first.
Exactly. Hopefully I'll stay around. That was good, man. That was really good. Awesome.
And again, the best part is it's from the heart. Did it sound fairly natural when you just threw it at me this way?
Yeah, it didn't sound like you were. I think when I hear scripts myself, when I took Bold, and like you said, I agree, we're all on scripts. To me, the first image popped in my mind is we're reading off a script and sound robotic. But I think what you're saying is you study it to the point that it becomes second nature. Like, it's so ingrained. I think, you said the basics. I'm thinking about, like in a football reference, it's blocking and tackling. And, I think a good reference is, I'm a big football fan. You are too. Your kids play.
Absolutely. Like Travis, come on.
Yeah. We got a kid at our high school. You're going to hear his name. But anyway, Will Shipley. Watch that kid. But anyway.
We have like 10 or 12 a year.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You're in Texas, of course. But my reference to this is the guy for the Green Bay Packers, way back. Who am I thinking of? You know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't, because right now my kids aren't playing at that level. I followed Pee Wee football when they were at that age. I followed junior high school. I've actually never followed pro that much.
Yeah, the trophy is named after him. The Vince Lombardi.
Yeah, Lombardi. Okay.
Yeah. Bart Starr and all this. Well, I read about him, and one thing that they did, they ran the sweep. They, everybody knew they were going to do it, but they were just so good at it that, and the point was, he said that a lot of teams practice, several plays, 1,000 times. He practiced one play 1,000 times to the point that it was like a work of art where everybody knew, and to the point where they got it, and they also say that like in military and things like that people reduce to their training. I mean, when the S hits the fan, you fall back on your training. So what I'm take from that is if you study the scripts and know the scripts backwards and forwards, it's not like you're saying them word for word, but you can fall back on the training and you can maybe freelance a little bit, be yourself, put your own spin on it, but you've got the basis, to fall back on. It's blocking and tackling.
And by the way, that's why I say not the basics, the fundamentals.
Yeah, there you go.
Nobody wants to be basic. Everybody knows, though, the fundamentals are foundational. And that's why that daily practice and role play. And I know you've worked at it with your inspectors, how they communicate when they're with the clients is consistent. You have a great history there in the Charlotte area. Every agent I ever talked to, oh yeah, I know who Preston is, great team, because you've drilled them as well and had those conversations over and over. It's the same in every industry.
Yeah, awesome.
Hello, my name is Chip Sprague with Home Inspection Carolina. We understand the challenges that you're faced with every day dealing with buyers and sellers and other agents. So we created programs on our website to help you out. If you go to homeinspectioncarolina.com, we have several resources there that you can access. If you click Realtors in the upper right hand corner, you can scroll down and see the resources that we have available. On the website, we have a seller's checklist there. This is designed to help your seller. One of the most stressful parts of selling a home is preparing for the home inspection. This helps the seller prepare and removes all those little things off the home inspection report. Secondly, we have the Realtor cheat sheet. The Realtor cheat sheet shows you the typical life expectancies of the components throughout the home. This will help set expectations for your clients and prepare them for what may be reported on the home inspection report. We also have the top apps for realtors. Within these apps, you can see we have our app there at the top, and our app is fantastic for record retention, scheduling online, and also seeing the availability of your inspector that you use. We always recommend to have at least 2, maybe 3 inspectors that you use regularly in the event that one of your inspectors is not available. Lastly, we have a measurement sheet that you can give to your clients during the inspection. This is a great time for them to get information since most of the time it's the second time they've ever been in the home. Our measurement sheet will show you the typical sizes for standard appliances on the front, and on the back it allows them an opportunity to fill out appliance openings, kitchen dimensions, and additional information for rooms such as window treatments. At Home Inspection Carolina, we want to protect your client not only during the inspection, but thereafter. So we provide your client with warranties to protect them for any future problems. If you want to find out more information, please check out our brochure or go to homeinspectioncarolina.com and scroll down to the bottom where all of our warranty information is listed. And lastly, if you go to homeinspectioncarolina.com or use the Home Inspection Carolina app to schedule your appointment, you'll receive $25 off your inspection for your client. At Home Inspection Carolina, we understand the challenges you're faced with every day, which is the reason why we created these programs to support you. We thank you for the opportunity to earn your business and your trust, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
You mentioned prospecting, and I firmly believe in that. And there's multiple ways. I mean, there's expired listings, there's FSBOs, there's door knocking, there's paying for leads, there's running Facebook ads. That seems to kind of be a thing now. What's your thoughts on? I don't want to say what's your favorite, but I kind of do. But what's your? I mean, I'm just going to ask you to comment on it. All right. So you tell me I should prospect. What are you telling?
How about what's the most effective?
There you go. That's good.
Because the research doesn't lie. Get your database in order. Communicate with your database often. Minimum 4 live conversations a year. Total now, the current research is 36 touches a year. And work that database and build those relationships. We've got companies in our industry, in the real estate industry, who know nothing about real estate coming in attempting to take our space.
Yeah.
Like Zillow, for example, and other technology companies. No one can take away your relationships.
Right.
And that's why that's so important. And guys, the return on investment, the research shows, is like 16 to 1 for every 16 people in your database that you are communicating with on a 36 touch conversation, 4 live conversations a year, you're going to get a transaction. 160 people, 10 transactions, 320, 20 transactions. It takes a while to ramp that up, 2 to 3 years. And yet that's how you build a business. So many people in the real estate space have a job. They don't have a business. And those that have a database that they really take care of, and they have a database. Now, once you get that database going, then you got to add to it every single day. Right. So part of that is that lead generation, like Facebook ads has been a really popular thing. Expireds historically, for sale by owners historically. How about every other human being you come in contact with during the day? Every one of those people. I was traveling. I was sitting at a bar. The people next to us, we started having a conversation. I've now got them in my database and been texting them. Awesome. I find buyers the same way, sellers the same way. Just start talking to people. It's my favorite lead generation activity.
Absolutely. And building a database. And I know in the book, he talks about, what is it, 33 touches or so. And I've applied that to my business. I've got to touch them, a phone call, text, Facebook, something, every 33 times a year, which I've figured out comes out to about every 10 days. Every 10 days, they need to hear something from me so that, in your world, when they need a real estate agent, you're the first person top of mind, or a home inspector. What do you recommend? How do you keep up with all this? Do you use a CRM? What do you recommend? How do you, because there's a lot, after a while, that database gets huge. How do you?
I'm spoiled, Preston. I have Command, which is internal and proprietary to Keller Williams. 5 years ago, Gary Keller led the company in a transition from being a training and coaching company masquerading as a real estate company to being a technology company masquerading as a real estate company. And it was so much fun to watch the industry joke and laugh and think that that was not a good idea. And now, as soon as COVID hit, man, he again is way ahead of the curve. So my Command system I'm looking at right now, I have every single person in there, notes on every conversation. Everything I do with them is logged. It auto syncs to my email. If I send an email, bam, it's right there in my Command system. It tells me who I should be talking to, when I should be talking to them. I can automate Facebook advertising through it, email marketing through it, text marketing through it, and all of those systems like the 36 touch.
Oh, is it moved?
We've got what we call smart plans in here that I can auto implement. Right. So every one of my clients right now, just talking about that, every month gets an update on their property and their neighborhood and what's going on with real estate at the neighborhood level. And it hits every month, automated. I don't have to do anything. So absolutely having a good, robust, full functional CRM. So much in here reminds me of what we did with the schedule center back in the day in the home inspection space and where we were going with that in that product.
Awesome. Well, I got two questions, and I'm kind of going to give you a lead up to it. You obviously in coaching, and you're all around the country, and, I've sponsored a lot of those. And, it costs money. So you've got, usually you have some high altitude folks in there or people on their team and whatnot. My question is this, and I'm going to go there and here, is as you meet all these people and you talk to them and you kind of get into their inner brain or whatever, my first question is going to be, what is the common ingredient, do you think, compared to maybe some people who wash out or whatever? What is it that those people that really do well in real estate have in common? And then the second part of my question is, what if somebody's just starting out today, just got the real estate license, and they came to you and said, Russ, I'm just starting out. What can I do first? What's the low-hanging fruit? I mean, I can't maybe get to where, and all that mindset stuff is great and positive, but my kids got to eat and I got bills and I'm just starting out. What can I do today? So,
we're still going to go to the mindset piece, okay? Because that is the lead domino. And again, in every one of these books, Gary starts talking about mindset first and foremost. If they don't think they can, they're not going to be able to. So a couple of things that every successful agent I know has in common, and we've already talked about a big part of it. They focus on the fundamentals. Mm-hmm. They don't go chase the shiny object. Maybe they did initially, yet they knew to get out of that and just focus on the foundational, fundamental elements of building the database, servicing the database, adding to the database. They follow the real estate business model, the 5 job descriptions we talk of, starting with lead generation at a high level. I went from brand new agent in a brand new city, not knowing a soul, to 25 listings in 90 days by lead generating 8-10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week.
Yeah, and that had to be. And not only that, you moved to a new area. I mean, it's not like you could call up your buddies from high school or anything, or any. I don't think you had any family there or whatnot.
Yeah, I was learning all new people, connecting with all new people, and serving all new people.
Awesome.
And within 90 days had that ramped up and then stayed on that. So that's the key. So for somebody new, let's answer that question, because I know there's going to be some out there listening, or maybe they're not new yet, they're feeling new because they haven't got the success yet.
Okay.
Fall back, take a half a step back, and put that list of people together that are your database.
Right.
And the way I want you to think about it is not who should be in my database or who do I know. One of my favorite questions to ask is, Preston, how many decades have you been on this planet?
5.
How many people do you think could raise their hand and say, I know Preston or I know of Preston? Through high school, college, businesses, everything you've done. That's the starting point for your database.
Right.
Who knows you?
Right.
And just start adding those names, brainstorm. Every time one comes, add to it. The great thing about technology is you can find their details. As I've been going through my database the last 60 days, because I'm back in full real estate production, I come across somebody that's missing a piece of information, Facebook, LinkedIn, tax records. I'm usually able to pull that information and add it to the database and update the database. Oh, and by the way, Command, Preston, gives you a health score on your database, including a health score compared to everybody in your office, everybody in the company, and the top agents in the company. So you can actually see even what elements you need to improve in your database to improve your database score and improve your business.
And that improves things, man. I was a teacher.
It's so much fun.
I was a teacher, and when you start putting things across in little gold stars, everybody improves, because nobody wants to be you don't want to be on the low score of that thing.
And by the way, since you said teacher, you know who some of the best real estate agents are?
Teachers.
They've come out of the teaching world, and they have that ability to connect and have conversations, and they know to follow the models.
Awesome. Well, I got to ask a question that you would be uniquely qualified to answer.
Okay.
When you talk to a lot of real estate agents, and I talk to a lot of real estate agents, once they get the deal, when a deal goes south, and I talk to a lot of real estate agents and ask them why, what caused that deal to go south. And there's a whole lot of reasons, but appraisal and home inspection seem to be the two huge, are the most common denominator on deals going south.
And which one more often? Come on, be totally transparent.
Home inspection for sure.
Yeah.
So
my very first deal in Texas, was a listing. I got into the contract. What do you think happened with that contract?
Got them under contract. Did a home inspector come in and crush your dreams? But you're a home inspector. I could totally see you crawling up under there and following up, seeing what are you talking about here?
Which I actually had to do. Yeah, by that time he had already scared the buyer so much that buyer was out. And so, gosh, so many things on that. What's your question specific though? Because I'm a firm believer in insulating your transaction.
Yeah, fireproof, bulletproofing. That's in shift. Bulletproofing, I think. Fireproof or bulletproof. But
bulletproofs are what's in shift.
Yeah, I had it. I used to carry that book around. It's on page 242, maybe something like that. But
test you on that. I know James will comment if you're right or not.
Yeah, 240, I think something like that. But bulletproof or fireproof the deal, something like that.
It's bulletproof.
So what? I guess my question is, it's obviously a friction point, a point of deals going south. And, when you've put so much effort and work into a deal, I mean, sometimes you're wondering if it was really necessary. I guess it's a multiple question. It's why does it happen? And how could it be avoided? And how could the relationship, I mean, obviously we're all working for the, we want what's best for the buyer. I'm not suggesting, but we do have that in common. The real estate agent and the home inspector have the buyer's best interest in common. And if the deal goes south, it's bad for everybody, including the buyer, because everybody loses time, money. Nobody wants somebody to buy a house with problems and then get into it. I'm not suggesting that for any amount of time. But what can we do? I mean, what can we do?
So would you like to know where the responsibility lies and who should own the fact that that deal fell apart?
I might not make real estate friends here, but I'm going to say if the listing agent would have had a pre-inspection.
It's the listing agent. It's
Yeah.
absolutely, that's one of the things that sets me so far apart in my markets is I prepare everything up front to bulletproof that transaction, including having TLC inspections, Nick, come in and do a pre-listing inspection.
Okay.
So that way, before we even go on the market, we know if there's anything of concern, and then we can address it up front before we go on the market potentially, or disclose it. Here's the normal transaction, Preston. A buyer comes to my seller, we negotiate, and the moment a negotiation is complete, my seller spends their profit. Right in their head, it's gone.
Right.
We're going to make this much money. Here's what we're going to do with it. Woo!
We're already looking at the
And
next
then-
house and how much, exactly. And the
then
curtains and the furniture.
Yeah, and then 10 days later, here comes the buyer's agent with a request for repairs or a financial adjustment, and an $500 issue in the mind of the buyer is actually a $5,000 issue because they don't know. And so it looks scary and ugly, and that fear can be gone. In my transactions now, I get an offer. When we respond to the offer, we include a copy of the inspection. So we've now defined what the as-is sale is up front. And so like currently on my house right here, during that process, they made some requests for repairs that were in my home inspection report that we didn't address. We came to an agreement on the number and the repairs, and we had no issue doing option of it going away. And if they would have wanted to have their own inspection, I would have loved that. I would have supported it, because if their inspector found something that disagreed with my inspector, who am I going to go to have the conversation?
Your inspector.
My inspector. I'm going to get them involved. And they can either showcase why that other inspector didn't know the information they should have known, or own it, correct it, make it right. Either way, the buyer and the seller win.
Yeah. Well, you actually answered the next question. I was going to go, the two biggest objections on pre-inspections are cost. I'm going to be an agent. Well, Russ, my sellers don't want to pay for that. And then second of all, we don't want to go through it twice. It's like I pay for this person to come in, call my baby ugly. And then we fix all this stuff. And then the buyer comes in with their inspector, calls my baby ugly again. And now I got to fix a whole bunch more stuff. What's your response to that? Obviously being a home inspector, you being a home, I know but I'm curious to your answer to it.
And again, it's in the communication. It's practicing those scripts and dialogues, because my sellers know up front that the home inspector is going to discover things they didn't know about. And that's okay. And whatever's discovered, we get to then decide if we want to make it right and have them come back and verify it's right and pull it from the report for disclosure, or if we want to just disclose the house as is, the way those things are.
Right.
The only time it comes up after the point is if it hasn't been discovered in the first place. When you give that up front, buyers and buyers agents now know that you have integrity and are willing to do the right thing. And when they discover it along the way, sometimes they wonder if the seller knew about it and just didn't tell them. It just makes it easier. And for those agents that go, my seller doesn't want to pay for that, they don't want to pay for staging either. They don't want to pay for painting, getting the house ready. And yet, when you educate them on the return on investment of getting the house looking like the prettiest girl at the dance, as I say, it's going to sell for top dollar and faster than everything else in the market. And that's ultimately what they want.
Absolutely.
We've just got to teach them what that looks like and help facilitate. It's also why concierge programs are popping up, where agents are taking that on themselves and then paying for it up front and billing to escrow for the reimbursement, because they know it's in service to their clients.
No, and you're totally right on if they spend a little more money to update it or do the pre-inspection. My wife and I, we have some rental houses. We're actively looking for investment properties all the time. And I've just got to the point now in my life, Russ, I don't want a project. I mean, when I was younger, oh, this is a good deal. I got to redo that bathroom, or I got to do that. I just want something that's turnkey, that I can get in here and I can, we can advertise it for rent as soon as I close on it. I don't want to have to update stuff. Even if it's priced a little bit more, I'm willing to pay it, because I got a business to run. I don't want to have to, I'm not doing the work anymore, but I don't even want to have to do the subcontract, be on there. It's worth it to me to buy one that's just turnkey, ready. The counters are already updated, the fixtures updated, the carpet looks good, the floor. I know you can walk into one and say, we need to do this, this, and this, and it's a good buy, and we'll probably still come out under, but what's your time worth? And I think a lot of people, are coming to that same conclusion. All right, well, let's have a little bit of fun. I've held you for a long time, and I know you got stuff to do, and you got family and all that. And thank you for what you're doing and the value you're giving.
Thank you.
And I wish we could have a virtual beer here, but I actually quit drinking, so I can't do that. I'll have a virtual Diet Coke. I didn't have a problem or anything, by the way. To all my,
hey, you made a choice for yourself, and that's okay.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, let's start with the first one. That we're going to go in the lightning round, but first, tell me what is the weirdest, wildest, or craziest real estate or inspect, and you got both ends. I used to ask this with home inspectors. Now I'm asking it with real estate agents, and there's some crazy ones, like people change clothes on the front porch from their workout and didn't realize there was a Ring doorbell. There's all kinds of stuff. What's the craziest? But it can't be I told iTunes that it was appropriate for.
We got it. So the first funny one, obviously, is my very first deal getting killed by a home inspector. Since that,
and you were a home inspector. That's quite.
Exactly.
That's appropriate.
That being said, probably the oddest, uniquest, Texas, the Laughing Air. So had a house, listed the house, the husband's wife had died 20 years ago, and it was the stepmom, and husband and daughter are selling the house. We get into title, and the will had never been probated.
Oh.
And because it has never been probated, then it falls back to Texas law. And there is a son she had that was entitled to the proceeds. And we actually had to spend weeks finding him because he was estranged from the family. They hadn't talked to him in like 30, 40 years. Nobody had. To be able to track him down and call him up and let him know, hey, we need your signature, and here's how much money you're going to get for signing the docs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So many things I want to ask, but I'm worried that I don't want it to seem inappropriate or anything. Was he willing? I mean, in one sense, he may have thought it was Christmas, but then in another sense, he may have been like, oh, I can hold you up here. Let me have a little bit more money then, or something. I mean, I don't know.
No. Again, we call them laughing heirs because they're laughing all the way to the bank. And it was absolutely a Christmas miracle in his life in Louisiana. That, here was this significant 4-figure check waiting for him. And he just had to get some documents signed and notarized to finish the transaction.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I have any relatives out there that if you need a laughing heir, hey, I'll be there.
Yeah. Not sure what the rules are in North Carolina.
Yeah, there is no telling. All right, so lightning round coming up. We're going to play a song here. We're going to do a game. We're going to do this or that, but first we're going to finish these song lyrics.
These song lyrics. Like I'm supposed to know this music?
Yeah, let's see. I picked it out for a reason. Let's see if you can hear. Can you hear it?
Somewhat. I need to know my ZZ Top.
Now, when I stop it, you have to finish. All right, can you finish it?
Every girl's crazy about a sharp dressed man. That's why I put these on today.
There you go. Well, that was part of it. I said the guy always wears a suit. And second of all, ZZ Top is from Texas. So
that are good connections. Have you seen the ZZ Top documentary? I believe it's on Netflix.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it. Is it good? I used to love that.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I was really into art, and my favorite project was we had to create album covers, and it was the 80s, and they always had their car on there, and that one had the headlights, eliminator and stuff. The 80s, I don't care what people say, the 80s was the best music. That was, to me, was the
not necessarily the best clothing and hair. I'll give you the best music.
There you go. And, I'm probably not qualified to speak on the best of that. All right. So we're going to play a game, Russ, this or that. I'm going to say two things, and you just say which one, it'll be pretty easy. Dog or cat?
It's kind of like would you rather. I'm a dog guy.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Phone call or text?
Phone call.
Cardio or weights?
Got to be weights. You know my background.
Facebook or Twitter?
You mean MySpace isn't an option?
Yeah, that's where it all started. There you go. But talking about ISS, Facebook does owe it to MySpace because they originated the concept. iOS or Android?
iOS. I mean, okay. Apple device, Apple laptop, Apple monitor. Yeah, I'm all in.
You're all in there. There you go. Football or basketball?
Football.
I'm gonna do one on the fly here. Joe Montana or New England. What I'm talking about. Best quarterback of all time.
I'm just gonna let you sit there and saute and what you do. I'm gonna wing it. I'm gonna do my own. How about college or pro? Which way would you go?
As far as watching it,
college or pro?
College. My daughter goes to Clemson. And our high school team is 2 years in a row state champion. And oddly enough, this is crazy. That's 3A. And oddly enough, 4A, my high school kind of sucked when I was there. I mean, like a million years ago. They have won it the last 2 years for 4A.
Nice.
That's like 80 miles away. But anyway,
nice.
Sorry.
So were you thinking Joe Montana or Steve Young?
No, well, Joe Montana for sure.
Thank you. I would have been with Joe too.
I can't think right now. Just went to Tampa Bay. It's been in New England. It's technically has more Super Bowls.
Yeah. No.
Brady.
Joe Montana. Come on.
Tom Brady. Tom
Brady.
I grew up. Joe Montana was my hero. I mean, he was playing what I was playing. It was just, to me, he was like the quintessential, he threw 4 touchdown passes and they interview him and all he said was, we got to get ready for the next game. This means nothing. I mean, just, no braggadocio, no just business and let's get it done, and that's just the way I thought he should be, but Brady does, I think, have more now, but he has a couple more losses too, but
it's a different game now though.
It is.
Quarterbacks, you can't touch a quarterback. And when Joe played, quarterbacks got walloped.
Oh, yeah. They took their heads off. And, he started that West Coast offense. You remember back before that, it was like tailbacks. And you had a fullback and a tailback. You remember Herschel Walker and all that? That was the big thing in the 80s. But then they sort of pioneered the West Coast. Anyway, I'm sure we're losing some people who –
Oh, no, we're on Preston Spanlin's sports channel today.
Yeah, there we go. We switched over to ESPN. But I do have a basketball question. Michael or LeBron?
Who?
Michael or LeBron? Jordan or LeBron?
Oh, Michael. Come on.
Michael. What's worse to have to do, laundry or dishes?
I would say laundry just because of my extended life experience. I'll do dishes all day long. Dishes have kind of an emotional attachment. So, yeah, laundry's the no-go.
All right. Online shopping or shopping in a brick-and-mortar store?
Yeah, I'm still a brick and mortar guy for the experience, though they're making it very difficult. I went to Apple 2 days ago, and the entire Apple process, because of COVID, really sucked the Apple experience right out of it. Ooh. So, yeah, it was a bummer.
Yeah, I hope they're listening because that's kind of what they pride themselves on.
Yeah, it was not good.
Money or free time?
I think that is an incorrect dichotomy and an inaccurate dichotomy, my friend. Because
Okay.
as you generate revenue and do it right and focus on your big things and get those done, all of a sudden you have freedom.
Yeah.
You have free time. And the discipline to do the right things at the right moment, generate the revenue, and give you the free time. So I'm going to add a third leg and say discipline.
Discipline. All right. I'll go with that. Or,
Right.
you know, and you could argue that money gets you free time. So
And I always thought, I cannot work that hard. I don't need the money. I'd never want to work that hard. And I just ask people, who works more, you or Gary Keller? Right? And you can say that with anyone who's worked through, because they built systems and processes and focused on the foundational fundamental elements. And now they have a life that we all dream of.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, Gary tells us 5 years, guys. Everybody is 5 years from anything they can imagine. Just
Absolutely.
daily steps to make it happen.
I used to say, you know, like when somebody would say they don't have time to do this, and present company included, I'm guilty of that. I would say, you know, somebody like Gary Keller, or name, you know, insert famous or person who's done well. Do they have more hours in a day than you do? No, they don't. So how are they, you know, and that's the whole thing. I mean, and you know, honestly, when like in business, and I'm not trying to sound bad here, but you know, I had some idols in this business or different business. And when I met them, I'm trying to not sound condescending here. It wasn't like they were on this mountaintop and they were all knowing and they were just, I guess what I'm saying is, I think I have the same, I don't think they have a much higher IQ than me, or maybe not at all, but they have created systems and learned how to manage risk and learned how to create value. That to me is, you know, that's it. I mean, it's not like, you know, they're, you know, some person, you know, like in the Harry Potter thing, you know, like the wizard up on top of the mountaintop that they just have all the knowledge in the world.
Yeah.
They don't. They just got really good at a couple of things, and that's what you got to do.
And the great thing about it is you and I looked up at people and realized they're just as human as we are. That's now part of our responsibility as leaders in our industries to make sure the folks that are coming in behind us understand just how achievable this is and share with them those things that they should focus on. Keep them away from the shiny objects. Keep them away from the spending money where it doesn't need to be spent. I mean, one of the things you brought up was leads and paying for leads earlier, and I ignored it. And it drives me nuts. I ran some numbers today doing some research because I was talking about this with someone else. 2019, Zillow made $923 million off of real estate agents. At $20 a lead, that is 46 million leads sold. There were only a little over 5 million total transactions that year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of bad leads there.
Or they're reselling the same one over and over, so someone's not getting it. And we know every transaction didn't go through Zillow, so it's even a bigger gap than that. Yeah. And it's a company that's sole purpose is to get us out of the way and have them have a direct relationship with our clients. And that's why that database is so important. So you've got the relationship and no one can worm in on that.
I think you're exactly right on the relationship part, because when you were saying that, I was thinking about, like, I have a HVAC guy, Don. I love Don. Don's a good dude. We've had beer together. Not that our relationship was predecessor on us having a beer together, and I have stopped drinking now. It really sounds like I have a problem, but what I'm getting at is I love Don. I mean, whenever we have a problem, just call Don. Whatever it costs, I just write the check because I trust the guy, and you know, and I have a plumber like that. I really don't care if somebody comes knocking on my door, or I get some great coupon in the mail, or even if I go to some lead generation, hey, I'm HVAC, I got a relationship with Don. I got HVAC figured out in my life. There's other things I don't have figured out, but I got a guy. I got a guy. And I think that's the thing with real estate. You want to be the guy or the gal, that like, hey, I call Russ, whatever. I trust Russ. I know Russ. We've been in the trenches together. I don't have a whole lot of time. So I know that I trust him to do me right. That's it.
You've got a fleet of real estate agents that have their home inspection space handled. They know Preston team's going to make it right, do a great job. And if something happens, because they're human, which we all are, well, Preston and his team are going to step up and make that right too.
Yeah. Exactly.
And as real estate professionals, we have the same opportunity with people in our community to build that relationship, to come from service. There's been a great opportunity over the last 60, 90 days to be having these care calls and checking in on people on what they need. How can I serve them? Right. I happen to be handy. So I had one client who had a bad GFI. So went over and fixed their electrical issue. I had one client who had a septic sump pump failing. Went over there and got that resolved. Whatever's coming up that's not real estate sales, yet I can either plug them in with one of my service providers, or if it's in my wheelhouse, I can fix it and help them out. And when the time comes for the transaction to show up, they're going to pick up the phone and call me.
And there's no algorithm or Zillow's not fixing their toilet or anything like that. So relationship, I don't care how bad, not bad, or how, whatever technological, I don't think technology can replace relationships. I don't think it ever will.
And we're experiencing that right now, aren't we? You and I sitting together in the same room would be so much more fun and so much more connecting. And yet this works temporarily, and we got to get this behind us and get back face to face. If
they ever come up with a shot or whatever, first thing I'm gonna do is go out and hug as many people as I can. Okay, that sounded a little weird, but anyway, I miss people. I miss people. All right, couple more on the game here. Would you rather go to an amusement park or have a day at the beach?
Me and my family at the beach is always a great time, so we would be at the beach.
Yeah, that's pretty much the general consensus.
Yeah.
Ocean or mountains? Beach or mountains?
Man. So again, for Russ, I love both, and yet the girls in my life, my daughter and my wife, if I say anything other than ocean, it just wouldn't be a fit for them.
So it's got the beach or the mountains.
Yeah.
All right, winter or summer?
We're summer babies. If it's 100 degrees, Marcy and Lauren are happy. If it's 80 degrees, they're cold and bundled up.
Would you Mac or PC? Obviously, you've said the answer to this one already.
Yeah, come on.
I'm still PC, man. My whole family is Mac, though. Everybody in my family, I'm the PC holdout, and they're iOS, and I'm Android. I'm the square peg.
You've got your PC, you've got your MySpace account, you're driving your '66 Volkswagen. Life is good.
I got my 8-track and my cassette tape, and
absolutely,
life is good. When you go to bed, fan on or fan off?
Fan on usually. Yeah.
Okay, that has been the consensus too. I didn't know everybody else had that.
I actually took the fan out of the master bedroom and put in lighting that my stager recommended instead. So currently it's a fanless environment.
All right. Ginger or Marianne?
Marianne was more authentic.
Yeah.
So it's always Marianne.
Yeah, everybody says Marianne. Everybody says
because of the authenticity.
You would think they would go for the movie star, but everybody goes for the farm girl. Back to the Future or Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Oh man, you're getting good 80s stuff. They're both great, and yet from a messaging perspective and a coaching perspective, I'd have to go with Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Breakfast Club or Better Off Dead?
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Batman or Superman?
Neither. Never been a superhero guy.
Okay. Billy Joel or Elton John? Who's the best piano man?
Who is the best pianist? Is I have seen them. Did you ever go to their face-to-face concert?
I never did. I remember when it came. I remember.
Oh, great concert.
I can imagine. Two of the best.
Yeah, 45 of Elton, 45 of Billy, and then an hour plus of the two of them together. And Billy, I used to play piano as a kid in college. Billy is definitely a better pianist, and I think Elton is a better performer and entertainer.
Yeah. I think my answer to that would be similar to yours. I think Elton probably has a better singing voice and he's a better entertainer. However, I think Billy Joel is a better storyteller and a better, like, he connects. I mean, Elton John probably goes a little bit more towards the entertainment and the pop side, which, good, a good song to sing along. But Billy Joel tells the good stories, man. You're right in there with him. Like, you know this guy, man. Like, yeah, he's, the piano man. You know the piano. Everybody knows the piano man.
He is just so good on the keyboard. Just being in that environment, watching them both, he is so good on that instrument. He is a better pianist, technical pianist than Elton John. By far.
You know what that question really is? I know this kind of sounds crazy, but that's the Ginger and Mary Ann question all over again. And I would say Elton John is Ginger and Billy Joel is Mary Ann. I mean, I know that seems kind of like a crazy, but I could see the parallels.
I'll let you run down that path.
You're on your own on that one. All right, we're winding down here, but the last this or that, the most important one, toilet paper, under or over? Are you a beard or mullet guy?
The patent shows it over. So the official patent for the toilet paper holder shows it over. So it's got, I'm a traditionalist. We'll go that way.
Over. I've had one person say under, and who are these people? I don't know.
What was her name?
Brenda.
Watch that. Watch how that breaks down, because my wife is an under.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And some people, they I don't know. I've had inspectors that it bothered them so much they switched it. I'm like, don't do that.
By the way, that's a great inspector. They're into the details.
Yeah, there you go. Like, fix that right. Well, Russ, you've been great. We appreciate all the time and the nuggets that you've gave. I know everybody got a lot of value out of it. How can we give you some love back? Do you have something, Facebook page or some properties we can go like or give some shares?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can find me in the public domain on Facebook. Last name Colliau, Colliau. And there's only one Russ Colliau on the planet, and only like 20, 25 Colliaus that I know of on the planet as well. So Colliau, you'll find me. Look for the one that's got more activity. I had one previously in the home inspection space. You remember when I did the Men of UPREI calendar where we took our heads and put them on beefcake bodies? So if you're on the one that looks like I'm sitting in a hot tub, that's the wrong Facebook page. So
yeah, I'm gonna let you run with that one, like you let me run with the.
That being said, guys, the love is just let's connect, let's start sharing and building relationships, and the opportunities show up. I do business sending referrals and receiving referrals in the real estate space and the home inspection space all over the country. And so I'm just all about now really building more and more relationships, looking at expanding into some other communities. So you may see some of that come up here, Preston, in short order as I'm beginning to test the waters, looking in some other communities to build some more real estate operation there. There's some incredible opportunities out there for investment. And so anything I can do to serve and help, I know if we come from contribution, another great bold law, that it'll come back full circle.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to add on there, for everybody listening, if they wanted to connect with you, or if you came to town and you were doing some coaching, obviously you work with Keller Williams, but is Bold strictly for Keller Williams agents, or is it open to other agents? And can other agents, they're happy where they are, can they take Bold, A, and B, can they benefit from it?
So a couple of things on the coaching and training. Absolutely, with our Bold program that is off in the field, any agent and any business owner can be in those when those get back up and running. We're going to wind up doing another bold pivot in July. It was just announced, starting, I believe it is July 14th.
Okay.
So if you're interested in getting involved in that 4-week course, and we had one young kid here in Austin put together 16 contracts in May from just implementing that course.
Wow.
So you want to get in that. I have a website, registerbold.com. So you go to registerbold.com. The site's up there to register. It's $99. That's it. As you know, the normal Bold experience is $800. Gary's really doing everything he can to help the community and the industry. And finally, if you're looking for some conversations, some coaching in or out of real estate, reach out to me. We can plug in with the right people. Coaching is key. All successful people at a high level have coaches. It's just a normal piece. If you had a kid you wanted to learn to play tennis, you'd get him in a class. If you wanted him to be an expert, you'd get him a coach.
Oh, absolutely. Even the experts have,
Yeah, and how many coaches, and I could spend 20 minutes talking about the value and why coaching works. And if you guys would like to get involved, just reach out to me. I'm happy to help you in any way I can.
Awesome. Is there an email that they could email you, or do you just want them to connect on Facebook? How would you prefer?
No, I'll make it easy. Russ at registerbold.com. Since I put the Register Bold website out there, I have a Russ at right there as well. That'll plug them right into my Register Bold, and I can communicate there.
Awesome. Well, Russ, thanks a lot, brother. And hopefully if this thing's all over with, we could get a beer, but it'll be a Dr. Pepper for me. But same thing, man. I love to catch up with you guys, and tell Marcy and the kids I said hello.
I absolutely will. You as well. Say hi to Meg for me. Miss you guys from the home inspection space. I have loved watching you grow in this space, doing your podcast, now doing the video side of it. And I hear time and again when I talk to real estate agents in your marketplace, what an incredible job you're doing as a business owner and a leader. And just keep doing it with your crazy pants.
Yeah, there you go. I knew. I was like, that's probably how they remember me, but I'll take it. Awesome.
Yep.
All right, brother. Well, I'm going to let you get back to it, and thank you so much.
You got it. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Russ.
Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin. Join us on the next episode where we'll be talking to a successful agent or vendor about the right things to do and the wrong things you should avoid. Join us on the next episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast.